Mrs. Mcginty and the Bizarre Plant. Story and pictures by GAVIN Bishop. Mrs. Delilah Mcginty was a pain in the neck. She was always complaining. Everything was a bother and a nuisance. Although she was perfectly healthy, she was never well. The kids in the street were mean. They put stones in her letterbox. They rode their bikes on her front lawn. They shot arrows into her cabbages and ran away when she came. Life for Mrs. Mcginty was a burden. One spring morning, on her way home from the doctor's, Mrs. Mcginty visited a bring and buy sale. There were homemade cakes and jam, tea cosies and oven cloths, old clothes and plants for sale. Mrs. Mcginty bought a cucumber seedling in a yogurt pot. When she got home, she put it on the windowsill to catch the morning sun. That night, it began to grow. Next morning, Mrs. Mcginty was surprised to find the plant was too big for its pot, so she took it outside and planted it by the back door. When darkness fell, the plant grew some more. A whole lot more! In the morning, the plant was taller than Mrs. Mcginty's house. She didn't know what to do, so she gave it a drink and went inside and closed the door. Throughout the day and after work, people came from all over town to look and to stare. When they'd gone home, the plant began to grow again, and every night it grew some more. Mrs. Mcginty became famous. She was the pride of the street. All through the summer, people came to see the plant. The kids in the street helped Mrs. Mcginty to look after it. Then one day, 3 botanists called on Mrs. Mcginty. "May we have your plant for a special garden?" they asked. With a sigh of relief and regret, Mrs. Mcginty agreed. "It likes plenty of water," she called. Mrs. Mcginty watched until the plant was out of sight, and then she and her friends went inside. That night, in a secluded corner of the garden,